The film begins with a beautiful female voice and breathtaking scenery. The voice goes on to explain the scientific logic behind space travel. Scientists can look at the size and color of stars and tell people a lot about space. They can even determine how far away those stars are. Scientists claim that space begins hundreds of kilometers above the Earth. However, scientists are still unable to provide information about the space dog. The magic space dog often tends to visit the moon. He enjoys chasing comets and rolling in stardust. To him, the moon is just a big tempting ball, and he takes a bite of it every night. This is the true reason for the moon's phases. This might seem ridiculous, but it's simply a lovely fairy tale narrated by a mother to her daughter. The little girl's name is Fei Fei. She lives with her beautiful and happy family. She has a mother and a father. Fei Fei stays in a small village. Her mother tells her a story about space dogs, the moon goddess Chang'e, and a warrior named Hui who used to live on Earth. Fei Fei's parents tell her all about the legend of the moon goddess Chang'e. According to legend, Chang'e had once drunk an immortality potion, which transformed her into a goddess and caused her to ascend to the moon without her lover Hui. Chang'e was heartbroken by this separation, and is now waiting for her beloved to join her on the moon. The story is told and even celebrated all throughout Fei Fei's village. At every annual moon festival, Fei Fei and her parents prepare mooncakes as a part of the festival's celebration. The majority of mooncake decisions are made by Fei Fei parents. They're experts at it, which is why their mooncakes are well known throughout the village. Everyone loves mooncakes as they're very delicious. In fact, Fei Fei's parents own a company that specializes in making mooncakes. They have a large number of customers. As Fei Fei is now mature, her parents want to help her learn how to make mooncakes. This will help their business grow. Fei Fei is very excited to learn the skill. Eventually, she makes mooncakes in an unusual way. Fei Fei is often assisted by her parents in her studies. When she's not studying, she bakes and distributes mooncakes. However, Fei Fei's mother falls ill and becomes very weak. Despite this, Fei Fei continues assisting her mother as she really adores her. After falling severely ill, Fei Fei's mother gives her a scarf. Fei Fei adores that scarf, and she always carries it with her. As time passes by, Fei Fei's mother's condition worsens, and she eventually passes away. But before that, Fei Fei's parents give her a bunny named Bungie. As time passes, Fei Fei grows up to be a beautiful girl who cuts her own hair. She still believes in Chang'e 4 years later. Her father, whom she calls Baba, still makes mooncakes for the festival, though not as enthusiastically. Both Fei Fei and her father miss their mother a lot, but they continue their family business, which began with Fei Fei's mother's recipe. One day, when Fei Fei returns home after delivering all the mooncakes, she notices a woman with her father whom she dislikes. Fei Fei is very upset to learn that her father is actually engaged to the woman. The woman's name is Mrs. Zhang. She seems to be getting annoyed at her young son called Qin. The two children go on to celebrate the festival with their betrothed parents. During the meal, Fei Fei realizes that her father no longer believes in Chang'e. He starts to deny the existence of the goddess. Fei Fei becomes upset and runs to the lake to mourn her mother. She feels as though her mother's memories are fading away. Fei Fei misses her mother a lot, and like Chang'e and Hui, she believes in true love as well. Fei Fei used to see her parents so in love, and she still can't believe how her father could forget her mother so easily and choose a new partner. After much deliberation, she decides to travel to the moon and meet Chang'e. She decides to build a rocket ship herself as she is very different from others. Fei Fei is an intelligent girl who collects all her knowledge from her classmates and teachers. She gets all the information she needs and is successful in building a rocket ship. Fei Fei is inspired by a crane and the legend of Chang'e, which is why she built the rocket. With its help, she wants to prove that Chang'e exists. Fei Fei creates a rocket in the shape of a rabbit, inspired by a Chinese paper lantern, and powered by fireworks. She and Bungie successfully launch the rocket, but she soon realizes that Qin has snuck aboard and thrown off the weight calculations. They all begin to crash into the ground. That's when they're suddenly captured in a mystical beam of energy, and they start to transport to the moon. The two crash land after being attacked by playful spirits, who then rescue and transport them to Lunaria. It is a kingdom composed entirely of light on the dark side of the moon. Lunaria also happens to be the home of Chang'e. Fei Fei is irritated with Qin for disrupting her plans and abandons him and Bungie. She then catches a ride with the Lunarian biker chicks to the crash site. However, Qin and Bungie follow her. Later, Chang'e and all her backup dancers called the Lunettes are introduced to Fei Fei and Qin. Chang'e informs Fei Fei that she was supposed to deliver a gift for Chang'e in order for her to bring Hui back. Fei Fei understands this and requests a photo with Chang'e in order to prove to her family that she is real. Chang'e agrees, but the goddess seizes the photograph and demands Fei Fei's gift. The young girl, on the other hand, has no idea what she is talking about. Chang'e gets frustrated because of this and declares that she senses the gift on the moon. To retrieve it, the moon goddess announces a race to find it before the last of the moon dust falls. Meanwhile, Qin notices some Lunettes holding the photo. Unfortunately, he is apprehended by Chang'e when he tries to get it. Chang'e demands to know the location of the young boy's gift, which he does not know. Chang'e then challenges Qin to a game of ping pong and promises that if he wins, she will give him the photo. Qin agrees and surprisingly wins. Chang'e does not cope well with the loss, and Qin chastises her for her previous selfishness in taking the potion for herself. Her selfishness caused her separation from Hoi in the first place. Chang'e gets irritated by this, so she locks Qin in a chamber and refuses to give him the photo. Chang'e then weeps for her lost love, believing she will never see Hoi again. Chang'e's sorrowful weeping triggers a meteor shower. Bungie escapes from the meteors, but Qin is still imprisoned. She follows the Jade Rabbit, who is one of Chang'e's loyal servants. They arrive at her workplace, and soon the two fall in love with each other. Soon after, Qin himself tries to break free from his barrier in order to assist his future stepsister. Meanwhile, Fei Fei and the biker chicks try to avoid the falling meteorites. They make their way to Fei Fei's crashed rocket ship. There, Fei Fei meets an exiled Lunarian named Gabi. Fei Fei then finds the Chang'e doll that her mother gave her as a child in the rocket ship. She believes that the doll is the gift Chang'e seeks. However, the biker chicks steal the doll, and they abandon Fei Fei and Gabi on the wreckage of the ship. The two eventually return to Lunaria on the backs of giant toads. During the journey, Gabi reveals that Chang'e exiled him for singing a song which suggested that she should move on from Hoi. Eventually, Fei Fei and Gabi track down the biker chicks and clash over the doll. But during the struggle, the doll is destroyed. Seeing this, Fei Fei is devastated because she has now misplaced the gift. Meanwhile, Gabi is on the lookout for Fei Fei following the incident. Gabi tells Fei Fei to come out and that the chicks are gone. He also tells her that he will help her and asks her not to worry. Gabi and Fei Fei then stay together, and they still think of different ways to get the picture. Just then, Gabi opens a bag to look for food, and they discover a moon cake. When Fei Fei begins eating it, she discovers something resembling a half key. Following that, Fei Fei discovers a broken half of an open jade circle in one of her mooncakes, and realizes that it is the gift that Chang'e seeks. Fei Fei realizes that they still have time. The two return to Lunaria's palace and hand over the half key. There, they even reunite with Qin and Bungie. They give Chang'e the broken half of the jade circle, which she fills with her half of the jade circle. When Chang'e connects both keys, Hoi appears in front of her. Chang'e is briefly reunited with her love. When Hoi touches her, she becomes very emotional and happy because she has finally got to be with her true love after such a long time. Hoi, on the other hand, explains that he cannot stay and tells Chang'e that she must move on. He then slowly fades away. Chang'e refuses to accept this, and she falls into a deep depression, causing all of the lights in Lunaria to go out. She shuts herself away in the dark. Seeing all of this, Fei Fei realizes that people who leave never return, but their love spirit continues to live. Finally, she realizes that she should also move on from her mother's memories, and instead, she should start loving Qin as her brother. Fei Fei attempts to reach Chang'e, but the moment she enters Chang'e's state of sadness, she becomes depressed as well. There, she sees a vision of her mother's passing. That's when Fei Fei realizes that she did not accept the loss of her mother. Just then, Qin jumps into the sadness to save his sister. Eventually, Chang'e and Fei Fei both realize that they need to look for love elsewhere and not mourn for the rest of their lives. Chang'e discovers her love in the form of the Lunarians, while Fei Fei discovers it in the form of Qin. This discovery allows them to accept the passings of their loved ones, restoring life to Lunaria. Later on, Chang'e expresses gratitude to Fei Fei and allows her and Qin to return home. That's when Fei Fei realizes that Bungie wants to live on the moon. Even though she's sad, Fei Fei lets Bungie stay. Bungie stays on the moon with the blessing of Fei Fei so that she can soon become the Jade Rabbit. Chang'e also goes on to lift Gabi's exile. Fei Fei finally says her goodbyes and heads home. Fei Fei returns to Earth with Qin. When she arrives home, she sees her father waiting for her. She realizes that her father has always loved her and that he will never forget her mother. Fei Fei accepts her father's marriage to Mrs. Zhang and accepts Qin as her brother. Fei Fei recognizes her reality and accepts everything. She now lives happily with her new family a year later. She adores her father, Qin, and her new mother, Mrs. Zhang. Every once in a while, she continues to gaze up at the moon in the night, watching cranes fly up towards it. She misses her friends, space dogs, and thinks about them. One day, the entire family is having dinner together, and they appear to be having a good time. They discuss Chang'e, Bright Moon Night. Fei Fei just smiles. Seeing her family so happy makes her happy as well.